everyone, Namaste, this is Muskan. A very warm welcome to my channel. I hope that you all are doing great, and if not, then please be hopeful and please be patient, because if it's the silence before the storm, then it is the storm before the silence. And today's video is going to be a September wrap-up video, and I am going to talk about all the books that I read in the month of September. And apparently, so this is the first time that I'm making a wrap-up video on my channel, and I really hope that it goes well. So I'll be starting off with the first book that I read in the month of September, which is The Living Mountain by Amitav Ghosh. Now, I received this book as a Raksha Bandhan present, a gift, and I'm really glad. This was a great read, but I would have enjoyed it even better if the book was thicker than just 40 pages. This is a short story, or rather even shorter than a short story, I would say, so it is a fable about the significance of Mother Earth, about Mother Nature. And this book tries to draw your attention on how as humans we are exploiting, or rather over exploiting nature. So this book, at the surface level, this book tries to draw your attention towards the significance of Mother Nature, towards explaining you as to how nature has been responsible for our health and well-being through and through. It has supported our life, and not just ours, but every creation that there is on the planet Earth, that there is breathing, surviving on this planet, in this nature, in our environment, is the responsibility of nature itself. It has taken care of us, but what we have done in return is that we have exploited it to such an extent that this exploitation has backfired upon us in the forms of landslides, in the forms of floods, in the forms of droughts. That has happened because of our irresponsible nature. So our duty is to coexist with nature and not establish our dominance by being the most advanced and intelligent species in the entire animal kingdom. But it is our responsibility to coexist with nature and not to establish our dominance upon everything that we see or everything we put our hands onto. So that is the surface level meaning of this book. But if we talk about the deeper meaning, in-depth meaning of this book, what you truly gain from this book, or rather understand from this book, is that this book is rich with metaphors. This narrative is highly metaphorical, as it talks about colonialism and post-colonialism. So this book tries to explore how much pain or how much suffering the inhabitants of the colonized land went through, and how much of an effort, how much of a sacrifice it requires in order to maintain the same symphony that they were in before they were colonized. So that was an entirely difficult process to go through, entirely difficult times to be in. And that is what this book explores as a hidden meaning of this book, which is really apparent if you are familiar with the terms, if you are familiar with this history. So this book, in short, is a satire upon our colonizers, and it is vaguely ironical in explaining that how the same colonizers who called our beliefs, our values, our culture as blind faith or blind beliefs, as taboos and as meaningless, that it has no meaning in your life and you should abhor it, you should abolish it. These same colonizers are back in our land, and they want to learn about our culture, about our values, in order to lead a life of spirituality, of the ultimate health, well-being, and your purpose in life. They are back in our land in order to understand that, and they are slowly realizing that our values or cultures, they were not blind faiths, they are our own beliefs. So this short book of just 40 pages is not just 40 pages of a short story, or rather a narrative. It is much more than that. It goes beyond the surface level meaning of this being drawing your attention towards the significance of Mother Earth, Mother Nature. Although I would have enjoyed it in a much bigger format, in the format of a novel, but nevertheless I really liked this book. It was a very fast paced and meaningful read for me. So the second book that I read in the month of September was a self-help book, and it is The Courage to Be Disliked. Now I have talked about this book in detail in my previous video as well, so if you want to check out the detailed video about this book, you can definitely go on to that video and listen to it. So in just short words, I would say that this book will challenge you to all the bounds. Every value that you have inculcated in yourself while growing up, it will challenge all of that, it will oppose all of that, and it will make you, not make you exactly, but it will ask you to be a better version of yourself, to abhor all of those values that you have grown up with and be a better version of yourself and find happiness in being. So initially while I was reading it, I did not like it. It was really challenging. It was difficult to read. The difficult part being the challenge, that it felt like a slap on your face. But nevertheless, when you reach towards the end, when you read to the last page, you will understand, you will slowly start to understand what it is actually trying to explain, or what it is actually trying to express to you. So if you want to read something which is comforting, please do not pick this book, because this is not comforting at all. Rather, this is a really challenging book. And I would also say that the biggest takeaway from this book is how you are responsible for your own health and your happiness. So people will come and pass sniding, scathing comments, but it is my responsibility to comprehend and function how these comments affect me, or how my external environment affects me is my responsibility. So if someone comes and says something to me, I could either let that thought sit in my mind and keep multiplying that thoughts into several negative comments about myself, negative self-talk, or other than that, I could just let it pass. It is their perspective, it is their thoughts. I could neglect that and live peacefully. So that is what this book explains to you. It was not a great read while I was reading it, but it slowly started to make sense to me. And yeah, you might read this book if you can pick this book up if you are interested. So the third and the next book that I read in the month of September, which took an entire month to finish, and I'm still left with a few pages which I'm hoping I'll finish in the first week of this month itself, is Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. Now I saw this book everywhere on the Bookstagram, and that is what Bookstagram made me purchase this book, and I'm really glad that it is very rare that you find a popular book to be worth the hype. So this book is really difficult to explain to someone, because this is the kind of book that you go and read and develop your own perspectives or your thoughts or your views about this book. Although every book is of that sort, but there is some sort of meaning that you can comprehend and explain it to people, that what it actually talks about. So yeah, I'll try my best to explain this book to you all. So this is a literary fiction. So what you have to do is take literary fiction with sprinkles of science fiction, and you will have this book. So this book opens up with a woman named Kathy, who's around 31 years old, and she is a carer and is going forward to her first donation. Now these unfamiliar words are introduced to you in the book right from the first pages, from the first chapter of this book, like the words like unfamiliar words like carer, donor, the teachers being addressed as guardians. So that is unfamiliar to us. Even though we understand the real meaning of these words, we don't understand what significance it holds in the plot of this book. So what happens is that there are a group of friends. So Kathy remembers all of the experiences that she has had in her school. These group of people studied in a private school in England, completely secluded from the external world. They have no idea what goes on in the external world. They have a world of their own, a little world of their own, and the setting is idyllic. It is really beautiful. The school is beautiful, the campus is beautiful, but the setting is also dystopian, as it talks about how slowly and steadily us humans are being bereft of all the values that we hold, of all the things that we hold dear to us. Everything is being taken away, and we are slowly progressing towards our death, our ultimate truth that we have to face. So that happens in this book. But meanwhile, meanwhile what happens is that you get to see how the experiences of Kathy and her friends. So the protagonists are three people, mainly being Kathy, but there are three people: Kathy, Ruth and Tommy. Kathy and Ruth being two girls and Tommy is the boy. So through their story, the writer has explored a love story, which is also a comparison on our how we as humans try to maintain a sort of inertia with regards to our emotions. Like if we are feeling sad, we continue feeling sad rather than doing something about it. If we love someone, rather than telling them that I love you, what we do is that we keep being in our inertia of not being able to express, and in the back of our head, or rather in our real life experiences, we just sit and wait for the other person to understand. So this cycle of breaking the inertia of our human emotion, that is not what this has been explained, but rather the outcome of holding those emotions is what this book explores in the form of love story between these three people. So Ruth as a character is really dominating. She prevents a relationship. She sort of prevents the relationship developing between Kathy and Tommy. Every time that you read Kathy, the conversation of Kathy and Tommy, you will realize that they truly, belong to each other. They truly are meant for each other. Yeah, the right word is truly they are meant for each other. But with the interference of Ruth, that does not happen. And in the end, Kathy sort of regrets not being able to express her emotion towards Tommy. So that is what has been explored. That is what it is a take upon human emotions in a form where there's a predestined goal for you. You cannot do anything else. So there's an indifferent submission as well. And I am really thinking that I am not being able to explain this book to you. But yeah, okay, I'll try my best. So there's an indifferent submission to your own situation that you are in, that you are meant or you are made to be this way. You are made to pursue this, to follow this, or your goal in life is predetermined and you have to live it. So you cannot do anything about it. So what you do is you submit to it despite wanting to do something else. So it is sort of a metaphor, and the surface level being the experiences of Kathy, Ruth and Tommy. So yeah, that was the third book, and I really hope that I have made sense, because I am not making sense to myself as well. This book is that kind of read. You have to devour it, you have to savor it bit by bit in order to completely comprehend, because it will test your not test your intellectual abilities. But yeah, moving on to the next book before I give a spoiler or any meaningless comment on this book. So the next book that I read is really dear to me. It's really special for me because I have been eyeing this book for a while, and it listed on around 350 on Amazon, but I got it for 50 rupees. Luckily that I checked my wish list on that day. So this Gooseberries by Anton Chekov. Now I picked up this book. What inspired me to pick this book up is that I studied Miseries, short story by Anton Chekov, Miseries by Anton Chekov, as a part of my syllabus, and reading that or studying that, how well he expresses, how graceful he is with his words, that truly inspired me to pick this book up, or I wanted to read this. So this book contains 3 short stories by him, and Gooseberries is one of them, which is the third short story in this book. So what happens with all of these short stories, that it explores the banks and mosaic of human emotions. And like I said in the previous book, Never Let Me Go, that we do not want to break that inertia of our human emotions, that if we are sad, we'll continue being in the sad motion, in the motion of sadness, we'll continue being in that. So this book explores the same theme as well. The short stories explores the same theme as well of human emotions, and I really enjoyed reading this book. It is a very simple read, and it will make you feel seen, it will make your emotions feel seen, and you would be able to highlight from every page of this book. That is how relatable, poetic, a little bit poetic the book is. And it is a really short read but very insightful. I really loved reading the first short story, which is The Kiss, and yeah, the other two stories are great as well, but what struck me the most is the first short story, which is The Kiss. The Gooseberries was also nice. So yeah, you have to read this book to find out. It is a really short and simple sweet book, just retailing for ₹50. So get your hands on it and read this. And I am so happy that I got my first Penguin Classics in this format, in the black format. I want these one of my shelves to be filled with these books, the Penguin Classics books. I'll make that collection soon. Connection with the collection. Cool. So yeah, right. The next book that I read, that I'm still reading, and I have included this in the September video because I have almost finished this book. I am left with just one chapter of this book, so it was reasonable enough for me to add this in the September video, which is this one, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari by Robin Sharma. Now it is really insightful, and it is based on Indian psychology, and this book will change you if you let it, if you allow it. And this book is really relatable. Being an Indian, I can relate with these values, so I really liked reading this book. It was really insightful. That being said, you have to accept all of these values in order to change. You have to apply the things that is said in this book, that this book tries to express or explain to you. You have to let that happen with yourself. You have to let that change you, and it is only then that you will truly benefit from this book. Now I am not going to talk about this book in detail. I am planning to make another video dedicated to this book and other books that I read as a part of my 75 hard challenge, which requires you to read a non-fiction self-help book. Although this is fiction, but you can add it into the category of self-help books, which I really love to read. If I was asked to choose between this book or this one, The Courage to be Disliked, I will without giving a thought pick this one up, because this is more effective and insightful and impactful than this one. Okay. So yeah, these were all the books from today's video, from the September wrap up. It was not a great reading month for me. I was expecting more books, not more, but I was expecting fast paced books. The books that I read in this month was really slow. Like this one is a non-fiction self-help. This is a literary fiction that took an entire month to read. This one and The Living Mountain by Amitav Ghosh was a short read and at the same time being insightful. So I am happy about both of these books that I read it, and I am happy about this one. So all in all, it was a great month. I do not know why I said that it was not. So yeah, although I was expecting to read some thrillers as well in the meanwhile, but I could not. So yeah, we'll cover it in this month, no worries. Looking at, like, we are approaching winters. This is autumn month. So yeah, so I'll see you and I'll meet you with another video. If you liked watching this video, give it a thumbs up. If you did not, give it a thumbs down. No worries. Just stay happy, stay blessed, and keep reading until we meet next time. Ciao.